Hello everyone, this is Kiran and today we are going to talk about how to handle frames in Selenium. So what is an iFrame? An iFrame is an HTML document embedded inside another HTML document on a website. So basically if there are sections in a website which acts as different frames, we have to handle them, we have to switch to that frame and then only we can access any elements inside those frames. So we have to understand if it is a frame, then how to deal with it. Okay. Now, iFrame is an HTML element also is often used to insert content from another source. So there can be a frame in a website which is an advertisement from other web page, so it can act as a frame. So this is iFrame. Now there are different ways to switch to that iFrame. Using name or ID. Second way is to switch to the frame is to use index, and the third way is to use Webelement. So we'll see quickly how to do how to access the frame using all these different types. Now moving forward, there's an HTML code which contains two iframes. Now let's say I save this. This is a program wherein we are trying to find out the number of frames in the page. Now to find out number of frames, let's use this method, list method. So we'll come back to this, but before that wanted to show you, let's say we'll create a page having two iframes. So this is the HTML code for that, and we'll create it. Now if I save this HTML as iframe.html, or I have saved this notepad as iframe.html, then when I click on this icon, it will open the web page which is created, which is having two iframes. Okay, so this is the web page. It is having two iframes, and you can see here when I just do a right click and inspect, since it is a frame, it will show me iframe name ID in the DOM. So what we have to do, we have to just scroll up. So we have to scroll up, and we can see that this is an iframe and it is having a name, and also it is having an ID. Okay, now let's quickly see which all methods we can use to actually access the frames, to switch to the frames. Now going back to this document, switch to frames by index. Now we have to switch to the frames using index. So we are starting the public static void main. There is a throws which we have applied, so that if there is any exception in the switch, it will be handled. WebDriver is equals to new Firefox driver or Chrome driver. Driver.get, then we are actually opening the URL. So let's say this is the URL which we want to access. So let me open this URL, demoqa.com. This is the URL which we want to access using the code. Yeah, so this is the URL. It's having different frames in it. Okay, now going back here, driver.switchTo.frames and then index. Index means 0th index means first frame, and if we had to switch it to the second frame, then we would have written 1, frame 1, index 1. So this is how we switch to the frame using index, and then we are doing driver.quit. Okay, now moving forward, switch to frame by name. Okay, so we can see here in this the HTML page which we had created, there's name also, right? So name is iframe 1. So if you want writing iframe 1, it will switch to iframe 1. So let's say we'll go to the second frame. In the second frame, if I do a right click and inspect, and then we go to the iframe section up. When we move up, it will go to the iframe section. Hang on, I'll just quickly do it again for you. So we will go to the second frame here I'll do a right click, inspect. It will highlight the section on the frame. Then we have to move forward, move upward, and then I get the iFrame section. Hang on. It must be here on the top. Yeah, iFrame 2. Okay, so this is iFrame 2. So this is the name of the iFrame is iFrame 2. So accordingly we have to switch to whichever iFrame we want to switch to. So same WebDriver is equals to new Firefox driver, driver.get, open the browse URL whichever you want to, having iframes, and then driver.switchTo.frame, then frame name. So that is how we switch to frames by name. And here we were switching by index. So index was dot frame, then 0th index, and which is the first frame, then first index means second frame, and so on. And by name, that means driver.switchTo dot frame, then frame 1. Frame 1 is the name. Now we can also switch to using ID. So if you just go back to the browser, we have ID also. See, if2 is the ID associated with iframe number 2. So I can directly driver.switchTo.frame, then in the bracket if1 or if2. So this is how we can switch to frames using name, ID or index so far. Now we can also switch by using Webelement. Now what do we do here is we can create an web element, as in driver.find element by ID or name, and then save it into a variable of Webelement type and directly switch to that particular name of the variable which we have created. So driver.switchTo.frame, then the variable which we have created. Okay, this is how we can switch to using Webelement. Now how do we switch back to the main page from the frame? You're on the frame and you want to go back to the main page. Now first of all, this code shows that WebDriver driver is equals to new Firefox driver. Then driver.get, you get the URL which you want to get. Then web element, then you're creating actually the driver.find element by ID or name or something. So you're on the first frame, let's say, and so you're saving it to a variable of web element type, and then you're switching to that particular variable using indexing, let's say. Now you want to switch to, so you can do driver.switchTo.default content. So you have to switch to .default content. It will land you back to the original main page instead of any of the frames which you're on. So default content method is used for switching to the main page. Then driver.quit. Okay, so this is how we'll be accessing the frames and we'll be able to use any of the frames in the pages. So let's quickly go and write this. We'll go to our project, Selenium demo. In the package, we'll create another class. Right click, new class, and the name of the class is iFrame. And finish. Now I can quickly create public static void main. String args. Then you have to create WebDriver driver is equals to new Chrome driver. We have to import driver, Selenium, and by everything. Actually, this D has to be capitals. So importing, after that driver.get, and then we'll pass that URL, which is this one. Now once we have passed this, frames will open. Now we have to driver.switchTo.frame dot, we have to find out the index or the name or ID. driver.switchTo dot frame let's use ID or something. Then we have to pass the ID of that frame. So let's find out the ID. In this page, let's say there are so many frames. So let's go to this frame and we'll find the ID of this frame. We'll do a right click, inspect, and after that I have to just scroll up to check the iFrame name and ID. So I can just quickly scroll up. So you can see here iFrame. Yeah, ID is equals to frame 2. Okay, this is the name. So I can do by ID frame, and I'm passing the frame ID. So by ID we can pass the ID directly, frame ID. After switching there, I can do some action on it. Let's say after reaching there on that frame, just a second. After reaching there on the frame, I want to inspect. So I want to get text or something. I can get text for this element, or maybe I can get the text here which is there. So ID is sample heading, so I can get text for this. So what I can do, I can write an XPath first of all. So I'll go to the selectors hub and I'll write a quick XPath for this, which is /h1 ID is equals to sample heading. So I'll just copy and paste. So it gives me one matching element, right? So what we can do, we can go and get the text inside it and print the text. That's what we can do as a part of our code. So let's do one thing. We'll copy this XPath. I'll write driver.findElement by XPath dot get text and save it into a string type of variable, frame text, and then print it. Frame text. Now I'm getting the text from here and I'm printing it. Frame text is the variable name. Now I can run this code and see if my code is working. I can maximize the window also. driver.manage .windows .window.maximize. Now let me run this code. So Chrome driver opens, and then it will open the URL, and switch to the frame, and then get the text and print it out of the console. Yeah, it's happening. So it got maximized and the URL is opening. I think I have to apply some weight, but we'll see if it works without the weight. And we'll switch to the second frame. Let me check if the code is still working. Certainly there's some problem with the weight, so I'll apply a forceful weight for the time being. So what I'm doing is, after get, I have to apply weight. So I'll just thread.sleep, I'll apply now. So apply.sleep. Then I'll be importing. I have to add throws declaration in the main method. So once it's done, I can run the code again and check if it's working fine. Okay, it's running. Now you can see here, similarly using by name, by web element, by index, we can use any of the switch methods. Okay. Now it will go to the second frame and print the text inside that frame onto the console. Now we can see here that it happened. It has went to the second frame and it switched onto it, and also selected the text inside it and printed it on the console. So if we check the text inside the second frame, the text is, this is a sample page. So the same got printed here. This is a sample page. Yeah, so it works perfectly fine. We can use switch to frame by ID, which we have used right now. We can switch to frame by index, by name, and also by web element. After finding out the web element, we can switch to it. and also if you want to go back to the main page, we have to use switch2.default content. So that's about frame for today. We'll learn more things in the next sessions. Till then, thank you.